Are these players born with a genetic gift? The IQ equivalent to an entire squad? The fastest reflexes on Earth? Not quite. The dream of a pro player is a blurred reality, causing harm to many people across the world. To give a better understanding, I want to tell you a short story. The story of Joey. Joey is an average kid in high school with his dream job of becoming the best video game player in the world, playing on a competitive team, and having an audience who supports him. After a long day from school, he skips his homework, ignores his family, and streams for hours, hoping to become the best player in the game he plays, sacrificing his life in the process. Joey is willing to do anything to reach his goal, and blocks off anything in his way. He studies everything that the pro players are doing. He watches YouTube videos, copies their settings, and mimics every single thing they do. He repeats this every day until he eventually graduates, and yet he is nowhere near the skill potential of a professional player. He continues to live with his family, with no job and no plan B. "I will be the best video game player in the world," he exclaims, only for him to turn 25 with no income made and eventually getting kicked out, ruining his future forever. This is the reality for a lot of failed gamers who try to make it in the gaming scene. You can blame Joey for being irresponsible with his other priorities, but the true sad part about Joey's story was he never had a chance. I am going to expose 5 reasons pro players are not as good as you think, with some even being less skilled than average. I want to wake people up from the illusion that's been placed in front of them, and you, the viewer of this video, can achieve the same results as these pro players, or even outperform them at their own game, with less hours than they put in. Before I continue this video, I want to leave you with a warning. There are 2 types of pro players. One is a content creator who is identified as a pro based on how known he is. And then there are competitive players who usually don't have as many followers, but are just known for being really good. The competitive players are only known to use the first reason, while many streamers use all of them. There are also 2 types of competitions: pro vs pro and pro vs everyone, with the second one being easier to manipulate. With that being said, here we go. Number 1. Input delay. With the trending shift to PC gaming, the majority of players still play on console. This leaves any PC player at a huge advantage, being that they have programs and methods to decrease their input delay and make them faster at any game. Input delay is the time it takes for the buttons you press on your controller or keyboard to register into your gaming system. This takes significantly longer for you to react in game, making them have the speed of a cheetah while you play like a turtle. There are some ways to increase this on console, but here are some things that console players have no control over. Overclocking. Overclocking is forcing any device, such as your controller or PC, to perform faster than what it was designed to play. This may be detrimental to the lifespan of your device, depending on how much you overclock something. But if you have money, you can just buy another one after overclocking it to max speed, making it more pay to win. Timer resolution. Timer resolution is defined as an application to change the resolution of the default Windows timer. In simple terms, a computer has a certain time it takes to update or refresh, and timer resolution forces it to refresh faster than normal, making your input in the game much faster. You can't force your console to run faster than it was designed to do, unless you jailbreak it, which makes you prone to viruses, and it's illegal. Faster internet connection. Many pro players move close to video game servers, making their internet connection a lot more stable than someone who doesn't live near there. For example, I live in Pennsylvania, with my nearest server in New York. So if I moved to the New York server, I would be much faster in the video game I play, being that the server is there. Number 2. VPNs. VPNs, or virtual private networks, are used to hide your real location from other people online. Gaming VPNs are a little bit different. There are 2 types of gaming VPNs. One that changes your actual location, making you play in lobbies that are generally easier in that area, and ones that keep you in the same area, but manipulate the skill-based matchmaking put in the game by the developers. You can easily tell if a streamer has a VPN if they show their task manager while they're in the match, being that they cannot change their location until they close the application. But there are ways around this. Certain VPNs show your actual location, even if you manipulate the skill-based matchmaking, making the viewer falsely believe the streamer they are watching, thinking they are innocent. VPNs can still exist on console, with the most popular method being a NetDuma, a router that connects to another location. Prices for this device could range from $60 to even $600, making the game more pay to win. Number 3. Whitelisting. Whitelisting is similar to a VPN, but is completely undetectable. Certain companies know how valuable the content creator is in keeping their game alive. Therefore, they will whitelist them to make their performance more exciting. The creator is written down in the system to avoid bans, which could lead to cheating, and also giving them easier lobbies, especially if they play in public tournaments that are kill races. Whitelisting is completely irrelevant when it comes to a pro vs pro situation, but the entire Warzone scene is a complete joke. A few years ago, I was playing with someone in the competitive community. I gained attention with my channel, and he wanted to run some games. I'm not going to reveal this person's name, but he wanted to host the game because he said he got whitelisted, saying his name would get him in trouble, so I'm gonna respect his wish. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna lie to my community. He had connections to the competitive scene, and somehow was connected to the company. Therefore, he said he didn't need a VPN. And that lobby was one of the easiest ones I've played in my entire life. Whitelisting is a common rumor that many people are nervous to talk about, but let me assure you, it is real. Number 4. File manipulation. There are some games that let you manipulate the files to give a competitive advantage. This is unachievable on console and makes it unfair for players who don't have a PC. One example is raising your FOV in Apex Legends. To get a wider field of view and see more people, you have to manipulate your game files to change it past what it was designed to be played. Many gamers try to play this down, saying that it makes them harder to aim and see people narrowly. But if that's the case, why would they change it in the first place? And do they have a right to use it even if someone else doesn't have access to it? No. Another example is stretched resolution, which I admit I play myself. This can be accessed on console, but it is far easier to use on PC. Sometimes you have to manipulate the game files to achieve this. But for me, I can simply change my monitor settings to make sure I don't force the game to change in an artificial way. This is unbannable, but manipulating the game files is against the terms of service. Number 5. Video editing. You might be wondering why I included this, but this is the most important reason. Pro players are not just picked up by a competitive team for their skill, but more importantly, they are only seen for what they're worth. Getting high amount of views towards that team would make them more popular, giving them an advantage to have more people buy their products. Videos posted by any good player will always show highlights. This means that even if they go for 20 games without getting more than 10 kills, they can post their 21st game where they get 25 kills. And even if they use a VPN or are on a whitelist, they can probably do it in 5 games with a higher kill count. Farming these types of games non-stop day by day creates an illusion that they perform this way all the time. They don't. You most likely have school or a full-time job that you have to take care of, and only get a few hours a day where you can play the game. Now let's say it takes you 8 hours to drop a really good game. You can only do it a few times a week, while professional players can do it a dozen times per week if they had the same exact skill, making every video of theirs amazing. This is obviously not an unfair advantage like input delay or whitelisting, but it is still a common misconception on the skill of the player that gets overlooked by many viewers. Those are 5 reasons I wanted to talk about. There are still amazing professionals out there who are truly good at the game and don't do anything unfair. My goal in this video is not to shame any specific creator or make you hate competitive gaming in any way. I enjoy it myself. But I want you to consider every gamer you watch and come to your own conclusions on if they are respectable or not. And if you truly want to achieve similar results as them, such as less input delay and stretch res like I have myself, buy a PC.